Hi, I'm 2E0HCC and I've just reprogrammed my Yaesu FT991 using the RT Systems software, and you can see the memory channels on the screen there. They're all split, so there are no memory offsets programmed in as such. They're split frequencies, so there shouldn't be any tomfoolery with menus going wrong. Hopefully this time everything's been updated. RT System software was updated today, 26th of October 2017, and the FT991 has got the latest firmware installed as well. As you can see, when I send the program down to the radio, it's sending the memory channels and the menus. That's all been done, and I'm just going to show you the other settings I've got here. So we've got radio menu settings, and under operating mode I've got ARS on both bands for 2 meters and 70 sems. They're disabled, and that's all in order. And in the preferences, I've got under memory defaults the third checkbox down, which is the one that says convert split offsets to standard plus or minus when available. That's been disabled. So again, that won't affect anything that's normally in the offset frequency box, because they are split memories. So the frequencies have physically been put in there rather than relying on defaults. Okay, so that's all been sent down to the radio. I'll just go and boot the 991 up now so you can see what firmware version is running in the radio. So I'll try and do that as we video. So yeah, there's the firmware version, and that screen will disappear shortly, and the radio will boot up. There we go. So we'll try and get into our memory channels. First thing I'd do is press the lock button, because that stops anything happening. If you spin that dial when you're on your memory channels, you can change frequency, and it's a little bit annoying if you're talking to someone, because you tend to go off frequency. So we press the VM, which is VFO or memory, and we go into our memories. The first memory there is for GB3WR. Let me scroll through, and you get some other repeaters coming up on there. The first one that we come to is memory 2. That's GB7PM, and everything looks okay there at the moment. So if we press the FM list button and then select wires X, we'll see if we get the transmit light come up when we press that button, and we do. Previously I was getting a problem where when you press the wires X button you wouldn't get the red transmit symbol coming up, and I found that sometimes squelch is enabled. So when you turn the multi-control knob here, you adjust the squelch, and okay, so we've pressed that wires X button and nothing's happened, because we're probably out of range of that particular repeater from this location. But if I go to the squelch now and change that to say 3, or even until the green receive icon comes on up there on the display, that should disable the transmit in wires X now. So if I press wires X, you don't get anything happening up there. It stays green, doesn't transmit. I thought there was a fault with the radio to begin with, but it seems that is normal if the squelch isn't set high enough. So in order to get over that problem, you need to go to squelch. Let's just turn the wires X off and go back to squelch. Okay, if you turn squelch up so that the green symbol for receive disappears, I'll just do that again. So turn the squelch down to 4, it comes on. Turn it up to 5, it disappears. So if I set it to 6 just to be sure, and then go to wires X, we get transmission in wires X mode. So it sends out the data to the repeater, and it's now waiting to receive information back, which either on this repeater or from the location I am at the moment, it's not working. So not to worry about that. And okay, so there's no response, it's cancelled out. So we'll change to another repeater. So I go to the MCH button, which is there, and I can change to a different repeater just to check it's working on there as well. So the one I'm going to use is GB7IS. It's in Weston-super-Mare, and I'll try the Wires X button again on that one, and we'll see what happens. So yeah, it's going out on the transmit frequency. The transmit light lit up. We have no green receive light there at the moment because it's not receiving anything, and the squelch is set high enough for it not to be a problem. So again, if I go back and change the squelch level when this times out, I'll take that down so we've got a green receive, and go back to Wires X. Nothing happens. Okay, no transmit. So that clears that error, or anomaly. Not so much an error, obviously that's the reason why it happened, and I'm happy with that. Okay, right, so if you remember in the RT system software, I told it not to enable ARS on 2 meters and 70 centimeters. So we go into the menu, options 84 and 85 are ARS, but they are on. Which is a bit annoying, because that means that the software hasn't told the radio to turn ARS off. So there's a problem there. So we need to report back on that one. So hopefully that can be fixed. I'll just check to see what 116 is doing. I know that can be an issue for some people. Okay, so SCP start cycle is off. Quite often when you do a firmware update, it goes to 3 seconds there, which will give you an annoying pause on and a sweep every 3 seconds, which makes your audio stop, and it makes you think you've got a problem with the radio or there's some transmission coming through, but it's not. It's an annoying thing which happens every 3 seconds, and it interrupts the audio. So if you get that, go to 116 on the menu, and it's SCP start cycle, turn that off, and that will get rid of that problem. But more importantly, 84 and 85 are enabled. They should be disabled. So I will turn those off manually and go back to where we were. Now, the problem I was having before was I would have it on a said repeater, and I would turn the power off, go away until the next day, or go away for a few minutes or an hour or whatever, come back, turn the radio on, and it would boot up in the normal way, and I wouldn't see what you can see there now. You've got your receive frequency at the top, which is 439.537, and your transmit, which is 430.537. So effectively we've got a 9 megahertz negative split there, or a shift. So you lose in 9 megs, which is correct. That's the transmit and receive frequency difference on this particular repeater. As it is with a lot of C4 FM repeaters, it's 9 megahertz split. Now with the 70 centimeters, it's quite complicated with splits, because you've got 7.6, I think there's 1.6, there's probably also 5 megahertz as well. Maybe the American market uses 5 megahertz, but we use 9 megahertz. So it's not as simple as 2 meters, where it's just a 600 kilohertz difference. So it can get a little bit complicated. So occasionally I'd go to a different repeater channel and turn the radio off and then back on again, and the result would be always on 70 sems, never on 2 meters. You would end up with an equal frequency. So for instance, if it happened on this one, it would read 433.300 at the top, and at the bottom here it would read the same. So it wouldn't read 434.900 after this incident. It would read 433.300 in both cases. And I'll just do that just to see that it's stable and it's not doing it now. Because effectively the fix should have fixed that issue. Okay, but if life was that simple, I wouldn't be making this video. So there is still a problem, but it's one that's very easily made, and possibly I'm doing something I shouldn't be doing, but the fact that you can do it and repeat it means that it should be an issue that can be fixed quite easily, or at least traced. So we'll go to this frequency, that's GB7PM, it's another C4FM repeater using wires X. I'll turn it on and off. Okay, so in a moment it's stable. 439, 43750 is the receive. 430, 43750 is the transmit. So that's a difference of 9 megahertz. So okay, so let's go to the next stage. Let's go to wires X and see what happens. So squelch is set high enough because the green receive light isn't on up here. Press the wires X and the red transmit light comes on, followed by the green receive, and now the X is flashing there on the left hand side of the display, waiting for some data to come back from the repeater. I don't think anything's going to come back because we're out of range of that particular repeater from this location. So that's okay, that's gone from there. It timed out, nothing's happened. So if I turn it off and then back on again, it should all be well, shouldn't be a problem, as we will see. Yep, no problem at all. But what I found is if I press the wires X button and I get fed up waiting and I turn the power off, that's when it all goes wrong, and that's probably where we need a safeguard or a fix to come in. Otherwise you have to reprogram the radio to try and repair it and to stop the problem existing. So I'll just show you what happens. So I'll press wires X, transmits, waiting, oh I can't be bothered, turn the power off, go and make a cup of tea or something like that, come back and turn the power back on, goes back into the channel I was on last time, but you'll see that the transmit and receive are exactly the same. So change to another repeater and the splits are in place, everything seems okay. Yep, go back to PM and it's lost the split for this particular repeater channel or memory. So okay, that one's gone now. I'm not sure how to get that back apart from reprogramming the radio without going into any in-depth messing around with the menus of the radio, etc, etc. So everything else seems to be okay. So we'll go back to our other C4FM repeater, which is GB7IS, a Western Supermare repeater, and that's okay, that's held it. So it's not just those channels it changes, it's only the one you're on. So if I do the same thing in this one and get fed up waiting and switch it off there and then switch it back on again, we'll see it's failed there as well. So yep, both the same frequency. So I'm going to send this video now to Yaesu and to RT Systems, and hopefully they'll know exactly what to do to fix that problem. They'll probably just email me back and saying, well, don't turn it off when it's in that mode, press and hold the wires X button to turn it off and disable it. I didn't know and you could do that until recently, so that was my ignorance, and I was turning it off there, so that's probably the problem. But it's a lot more stable now than it was. I've been having issues like this for a couple of years where it's been losing the repeater shift, and it's always done it in one way or another, and that was before wires X was being used as well. So it's always been an issue. So hopefully we'll get a fix on this, and everyone will be happy until the next firmware update when something might go wrong. But who knows. Okay, 2E0HCC wishing you 73.